5 considerations for the eloping couple. By definition, we did not technically elope. We chose to give our parents 10 days' notice, and our work knew that there was a chance we'd be running away to get married. As with any wedding, the process of planning the event will hold its challenges. With planning a wedding in a secret destination, we found there were extra challenges and hurdles we had to work through. If you're thinking of eloping, here are a few of the difficulties we had and how we overcame them in our decision making. Number 1, make the decision. Openly talk through your pros and cons. The first thing we did once we started seriously considering the idea of eloping was sit down and write out the reasons why we wanted to do it. In our case, we had some tender family situations we felt were taking away from the day. These situations were one of our biggest stressors, tear starters, and argument fuelers. Anthony and I did not feel fully happy with what our wedding day was becoming, so eloping suited our situation rather well. Here are some of our pros and cons. Even though our cons were a little heavier, we chose to go ahead and follow the peace our hearts were feeling. Our pros: no stress, amazing views. We ended up picking Banff, Alberta for our destination. It's intimate, it was less expensive, which also meant not starting marriage in debt. It's what we wanted. There was less day of stress and drama, and it didn't actually put our family situation in the spotlight. Our cons: we were missing out on family pictures. I wasn't getting a father-daughter dance, which was a bit sentimental for me. Having to tell parents and see the disappointment, not having loved ones present to celebrate, and I was sad I wasn't dancing the night away with some of my girlfriends. Number 2, togetherness. You must both agree and feel at peace about your decision. You have to agree on eloping together. If one of you is unsure, doesn't feel peace about the decision, go back to the drawing board and figure out the following. Why don't you feel at peace? Is it fear of disappointing others? Is it because it's not 100% what you envisioned for your wedding day? What can you do to remedy those feelings? Could you have a small reception when you return so family is still involved? And what are the other options you could have for your wedding day? Some of the eloping alternatives we considered were parents-only wedding ceremony, or an immediate family-only ceremony and dinner, witnesses-only ceremony, which would have involved just a few close people, or even having an intimate backyard wedding. Remember, you don't have to have a reception, so if a ceremony is all you want to share with your loved ones, then a ceremony-only event is a good pick. I have a bad habit of pointing the finger when my husband's decisions don't work out. I'm working on it. When it comes to our wedding day, pointing the finger is a huge no-no. To eliminate this issue, we sat and committed to not playing the blame game if and when things went wrong or tension built against us. Our wedding day is about committing and supporting one another. Wedding planning is a good place to practice having each other's backs. Number 3, telling the parents our decision. This was a different experience for both of us, so here is his and hers aside. Him. My brother got married a few months ago. Seeing all the planning, money spent, all the people involved, and expectations placed on the event made me realize I didn't want it. As a couple, we are not materialistic and we do not conform to expectations, so I knew from early on that I wanted to elope. I had been telling my parents we would probably do it, though they didn't believe me right away. I think mentioning it in conversation prior to officially telling them allowed them time to process and accept it. When I told them we were in fact eloping and the flights were purchased, they were accepting and supporting, even if they were sad they wouldn't get to show us off and celebrate at a big event. Her side. I was very anxious about telling my parents about our decision. My parents and I had a difference of opinion regarding my engagement, and though my father wanted my happiness regardless of what my wedding day looked like, I was still consumed with a mix of fear, anxiety, and sadness at the thought of knowing that me getting married was bringing them a bit of disappointment. Part of the issue was that I am a total people pleaser when it comes to my parents. They mean the world to me, and causing them any level of sadness or disappointment literally breaks my heart. I prayed and prayed for days before telling them we had purchased our airline tickets and were officially eloping. I wrote them a letter to read on their own time, and though I cried, well, I sobbed, really, through the whole conversation I had with them, I never felt more excited and at peace in my spirit about moving forward with such a big decision. I was absolutely liberated. God works so much in my heart through such a small event. Number 4, keeping an exciting secret. Pick a small group of individuals you can confide in with your secret. This is where eloping can become less of eloping. We both openly talked about planning a getaway wedding at work, so it was not a surprise to them when we were suddenly absent for a week. We also chose to inform both sets of parents of our decision 10 days before we flew out, and I had told my siblings and select friends that played an important role in making my big day happen. Confiding in friends allowed me to talk through the last-minute worries and jitters, as well as some of the more personal emotional hurdles I was working through. I can't tell you how comforting their prayer and helping hands were through the planning process. I do believe that parents deserve to know the biggest news in their child's life, so if there's anyone you should confide in, it should be them. Mind you, that's assuming you have a healthy relationship with them and that you can handle their convincing arguments against your adventure to elope. It helps to offload onto understanding ears through this whole process. Number 5, missing out blues. You don't have to miss out on everything just because you're eloping. I felt the blues. I was sad of not having a father-daughter dance, of not dancing the night away with my dear friends, of not having a family bridal shower. Since my best friends knew about my nuptials, they sweetly put together a little shower and a bachelorette, while my coworkers also took me out on a last blushing night. Other solutions for the blues? If you're really doing a full-on surprise elopement, maybe a bridal shower would be too exposing. So think about having a girls' night to celebrate when you come back. Friends always want all the details, and this would be a great opportunity for your close friends to shower you with love and excitement as they hear about your eloping adventure. We chose to host a small lunch in honor of our nuptials for my husband's side of the family. Weddings are a big deal in Italian culture. So to settle some not so happy feelings from some key family members, we hosted a small celebratory event for them to feel part of it. This allowed everyone to have a great time together, eat their hearts out, and still get a chance to wish us their congratulations. Sometimes giving into tradition isn't so bad. You can also involve select individuals in your wedding dress shopping. I know that's a big step for the bride. I went alone a few times, and believe me when I say it is so hard to make these decisions alone. I was so glad to have been able to get the opinion of a select group of individuals. You don't have to tell them when the wedding is if you really want to be secret. You can always tell them you just want to know for the future, or you want to try on dresses to have an idea of what looks good on you. You definitely don't have to buy it in front of them either. You can call the store and put it on hold for pickup the next day. You can keep it a secret without feeling like you're completely missing out on some close time with your girls. In the end, your decision should be based on whether you are feeling spirit-led. Sometimes it works out for the better to put aside our picture of the perfect wedding day and plan with Holy Spirit's guidance. I know I had envisioned a vineyard wedding with my family, but quite honestly, eloping in the mountains of Banff was just as beautiful. Do you have more solutions to share? Leave them on a comment below.